get started, so thank you very much for coming. We really appreciate it. I'm Coy Smith. I'm the CEO of the Chamber of Commerce here in Novato. The Novato Chamber of Commerce is 98 years old this year, heading towards 100. We thank you all very, very much for coming. Let me make a couple of quick introductions, if I could. First, we have with us in the room Councilmember Madeline Kellner, Councilmember Denise Athos. I saw Jean somewhere. Where is she? Councilmember Jean McClaney. There she is over there. Thank you guys very much for coming. We put on this event every year. We have definitely, we love having the public here, and we love having others here. If you paid $10, we appreciate you doing that. It does pay for the coffee that blew the circuit this morning. We're sorry that was a touch late. We're going to be working with the city to fix these circuit breakers here so that coffee gets warm early. This event is put on by our Business Education Committee, which works all year to put on various events on behalf of the community, on behalf of our membership, to educate and inform our membership about what's going on in Novato and what business in town needs to know about. So we really appreciate our committee for putting this on for us. We also can't do many of our events without our sponsors. They support us greatly. We have two of them today. One of our sponsors today is the City of Novato, who is sponsoring the room and letting us use this room today at no charge, which we really appreciate. And then our main event sponsor for the day is Jay Strauss, attorney at law. Jay, come on up.
Hold the applause down because I get to speak, and you'll see at the end whether you like it. I'm a lawyer. I do business in real estate and estate planning, and I have a human resource company. We do a lot of employment law, and we do payroll and a full-service HR kind of package that we can provide, and that's what I do. As soon as this venue was picked, I was really anxious to be the sponsor because I love the building and I'm engaged with the city and involved with the city. I'm on the Planning Commission. I'm on the board of the Chamber of Commerce. And as a result of that kind of involvement, I've had many opportunities to work closely with Michael and the staff. And I'm very supportive of them. And they don't have an easy job. This city has lots of stressors, and I'm sure that Michael will talk a little bit about them. We've been through a financial crisis. We've had a housing crisis. We're working on our general plan. There's been a kind of economic malaise that has stalled commercial development. And this city also has lots of critics that don't make Michael's job easy, and I count myself among them, frankly. And that's what democracy is about. That's the way it's supposed to be. When Michael signed on to do this job, I guarantee you nobody told him it was going to be an easy job, and I'm sure it hasn't been. But that's what the process is, and as long as we're all talking with each other and speaking openly and freely and respectfully of the other's points of view, then we're going to be just fine, and we're going to get through all this stuff with some good leadership and dedication by a lot of citizens who really, really care about this community. And this today is part of the process. The Chamber of Commerce is a great civic organization that whose mission is not just to promote business, but to promote the well-being of the entire community. And that's why we hold events like this, and I'm glad to be a part of it. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Jay. I was worried, but you did good. I have every reason to be worried, don't I? We're really proud and honored that the city manager comes and does this event with us every year. It's good to know what's been happening in the city, what's going to happen in the city. It's really good to keep a pulse on that, and we really appreciate the time and the energy and the investment he makes to put this on. I can tell you, I'm not going to say too much, but he's been working on this speech for a while. I know because I get little emails with questions. So he doesn't take this lightly. He doesn't just whip up an outline this morning before he shows up. He spends weeks, if not more, preparing for this event for us and to let you know what he thinks is going on in your city. Let me tell you a little bit about Michael Frank. He's been city manager of Novato since May of 2009, and he resides here with his husband and daughter. She's a sixth grader at Hamilton School in the Novato Unified School District. Prior to this position, he was Assistant Manager and Director of Administrative Services with the City of Santa Rosa. After graduating from Wesleyan University, he moved to San Francisco for a Civic Leadership Fellowship. Mr. Frank studied at the Yale School of Management and received an MBA. Prior to Santa Rosa, he worked for the cities of Hayward, Palo Alto, Fremont, and San Francisco. He's a member of Novato Rotary, and of course, he's a 2011 graduate of our Leadership Novato program. So thank you, and welcome, Mr. Frank.
Thank you, Coy. Thank you, Jay. Thank you all for being here. I want to thank the Chamber and Coy and all of your members. You provide about 25% of the jobs in our community, so thank you very much. And I think that your 98th year is going to be a great year for our community. With that introduction and the weeks and weeks that I've spent on this speech, you're expecting a lot, but I can tell you from what my daughter said last night, she used the analogy of Moby Dick. So hopefully you'll enjoy it a little better than her. She walked away and started reading her book. Chapter 1, the pole position. This is my 4th State of the City address, and things are looking better than they have in a long time. Retail sales and incomes are on the rise. Hotel vacancies are down, but room rates are up. Where I see Bob and John Marshall over there, hopefully they're not going to raise their hands and say, no, no, but I think that's true. Small businesses are opening at an increased pace. Real estate demand and prices are improving. Median home prices have jumped by almost 30%. Vacancy rates for Novato's industrial, office, and retail spaces are decreasing, and Marin County is experiencing broad gains in employment. 5,500 jobs have been created since 2010, and Marin's unemployment rate is now down to 5.5%, which is the lowest in the state, by the way. More telling, however, is that for the last couple of years, I would go downtown and I would walk into Morrison Company. Many of you have been to Morrison Company. And generally, I would have plenty of time to chat, or more aptly, listen about the status of the recession and the issues going on in the downtown and the difficulty that the downtown was having during the recession. But I will say that these days, Jan has handed the glue gun over to Austin, and whenever I walk in, she's helping a customer, and Austin's too busy fighting with the wrapping paper to actually engage in a conversation. So I do believe things are improving downtown, as they are in other areas of our community. Whether you were a car or horse race enthusiast, being in the pole position, that's P-O-L-E, the pole position, is the spot in the front row on the inside lane of the track. It's the position that promises an increased chance of success and possibility. We are sitting in that pole position. Novato's advantages are numerous. We have industries like biotech and video gaming that are looking to expand. The Buck Institute has invested more than $32 million in improvements on its campus, and it's about to submit plans for 130 residential units for its researchers. BioMarin has made $10 million in improvements to the properties it leases and owns in Novato. And 2K Games, an international company specializing in interactive entertainment, expanded their corporate presence in Novato, and they're now up to 300 jobs in our community. Who knew? I didn't. Toys for Bob, owned by Activision, the world's first independent developer and distributor of video games for gaming consoles, expanded their space and now provides 75 jobs locally. As a community, we have developable land on Redwood Boulevard from downtown all the way up to Birkenstock. We have property owners throughout the city that are investing and tenanting their buildings or preparing plans to do so. You only have to look right over here at the corner of Grant and Redwood to see that beautiful building coming to almost completion. It's getting there slowly but surely, but it's a beautiful building, and I think it's something, once it's tenanted, will be something we're all really proud of. And just 2 doors up, Redwood Boulevard, a new building, 7370, that opened up, has Pete's Coffee now. I hear a rumor that some sort of burger joint's going in next door. We'll see, but I think that also is a building that is something that we can be proud of. It fits well, I think, in our downtown. Pacheco Plaza continues to get new tenants and become more a center of that end of our town, and a lot of improvements and a beautiful place to just be and have coffee and shop. And I really like what they've done with the Square Shopping Center. That's a joke. The Square, that's the one, clearly you don't know where that is. That's the one up Novato Boulevard, right past Simmons, and if that center will get updated if I have to do those improvements myself, and that is saying a lot. We have incredible land assets at Hamilton that we are actively positioning for investment. Our entitlement processes and zoning code are improving, and we continue to look for ways to streamline. We have made a commitment to keep Novato safe. We maintained police patrol officers during the staffing reductions, and with the use of grant and Measure F funds, we have added dedicated, proactive problem-solving unit called the Novato Response Team, or NRT. They have responded aggressively to any and all signs of gang activity in our community. The NRT provides a citywide, integrated approach to crime prevention, intervention programs, and targeted enforcement operations. Despite perceptions sometimes to the contrary, overall crime is down again this year, another year where it has declined. Novato has experienced a 13% decline this past year in violent crime, and we're 60% down in violent crime from 20 years ago. Marine Transit is expanding its service routes with new mini buses throughout town, increasing frequency and improving connections throughout the community. And of course, the SMART train is coming, with construction well underway and 2 stations being designed for Novato. The city is ready to take off. We are primed for success in a whole host of arenas. As Richard Bach said and Jonathan Livingston Seagull, quote, "Don't believe what your eyes are telling you. All they show are limitation. Look with your understanding. Find out what you already know, and you will see the way to fly," unquote. Don't believe what your eyes are telling you. All they show is limitation. Don't believe what you read online or the purveyors of mistrust. Look with your understanding. Find out what you already know. And what I know is this: part and parcel of where we are now is a result of the way our leadership has coalesced over the last year. Those in the driver's seat are policymakers. Novato's City Council are focused, working together as a team, and are working with staff as valuable and essential members of success. Council is providing clear direction and leadership while modeling respect for all contributors to the public process. I also know that we receive an extraordinarily high standard of service from our employees. We have the right people in the right jobs. Our employees are focused on the organization's mission and providing responsive and exceptional customer service. I watch staff regularly go above and beyond, not because their job requires it, not because they do or don't live in town, but because as public servants they know, and I know it's the right thing to do. Chapter 2, Powerful Intentionality. Intentionality is defined as the power of minds to be directed towards a collective goal. And that's what we've done. We stayed focused on pulling our city out of this difficult time and getting back on course. What has been accomplished during this recession is nothing short of remarkable. As Governor Brown said recently, quote, "Fiscal discipline is not the enemy of our good intentions, but the basis for realizing them," unquote. Historically, Novato's city councils have exercised repeated fiscal discipline. Our community never provided the enhanced pension formulas added by the state in the 90s, never paid lifetime retiree health care, and has salaries 20 to 30% below comparable cities. Nevertheless, due to the scale of the recession, our council and staff have needed to take bold yet necessary steps to stabilize our city. As a result, we've reduced our structural deficit by 90%, reduced expenditures by 20%, and enacted every legally possible pension reform. Council adopted an emergency ordinance to get Measure F on the ballot, to stop the bleeding and prevent further layoffs and reductions to vital city services. We retooled, reorganized, and refocused by systematically considering every element of our budget and organization, and made difficult and often extremely painful decisions. We are presently at staffing levels last seen in 1995, when the city was 15% smaller. Our employees have participated in the solution with 4 years of financial sacrifices, including furloughs, pay cuts, and benefit reductions. In fact, I would go as far as to say these past couple years were like nothing I've seen in my career, and have pushed the boundaries of what I ever imagined possible, including the loss of redevelopment, creating an immediate $1 million hole in our budget, ongoing hole, I should add, the single most effective economic development tool for cities missing from California municipal toolboxes indefinitely, with a sweep of the governor's pen. And deep and severe cuts to what was already a lean budget, including some small park closures and removal of amenities that can no longer be maintained, deferred maintenance of facilities and street medians, and the loss of all recreational programs targeted at at-risk and low-income youth. We addressed the immediate fiscal crisis with powerful intentionality. So much so that the bond rating agencies either upheld our bond ratings or in one case actually increased them during the recession. We then turned our sights on long-term financial and organizational sustainability. Personally, I'm ready to move beyond perpetually addressing structural deficits and get to a place where we can provide the services that are most important to the community. That's why I went into this career. And budget cutting is not my favorite thing to do. We are developing a long-term plan, a blueprint of what we can accomplish and by what means. That plan will be completed by the end of this summer. As fortunate as we are to have Measure F, it is a temporary fix. Looking ahead, we will have to deliberate as a community. What level of services and what infrastructure do we want? And how are we going to go about paying for it? Part of the challenge, which will be addressed in the long-term plan, is to identify revenue options. Not necessarily taxes, but revenue. Incorporated after many special districts had already been formed, Novato does not have access to the same sources of revenue that most other municipalities do. We do not have a utility users tax, a refuse franchise fees, or street impact fees. We unfortunately also have an extremely low property tax rate, and property tax is our largest revenue source. The City of Novato receives 7 cents for every $1 paid in property tax. Half, for instance, of what our Novato Fire District gets. But why? Why is our property rate so low? In the years prior to Prop 13, which froze our property tax rate and removed local control, Novato's City Council was fiscally conservative and repeatedly lowered its property tax rate, or what was then called the mill rate. Because of development growth at the time, total tax revenue continued to increase. Then Prop 13 came along and froze that low rate. In addition, in the late 90s, we instituted an urban growth boundary, and now are mostly built out as a community. Our lack of revenue is primarily the result of that 1978 ballot language removing local control and the significant unintended consequences it brought about. In the long run, we will need to address this lack of revenue either through economic development, creative use of city assets, or some other mechanism. Measure F has been a godsend. Thank you, Novato. It has allowed us to plug the budget hole following all the other reductions, and has given us time to methodically and thoughtfully consider what fiscal and organizational sustainability looks like. The next 6 months will bring deep and thoughtful discussions and decisions about how we address this need for revenue and balance, one, our need to invest in our assets and facilities for the long term, two, the appropriate service levels expected by our community, and three, employee compensation that allows us to retain and attract quality talent. Tonight, the City Council will be exploring potential economic development options and strategies, and I encourage all of you to be part of that ongoing discussion to shape our fiscal future. Expanding our local economy is critical to improving our budget and ultimately your bottom line. We are launching an economic development program with 2 very talented individuals who will help us strengthen and expand the city's economy and tax base by attracting investment and high-paying jobs, retaining businesses, promoting Novato as a destination, and creating vibrancy by expanding retail offerings for our residents. Unfortunately, our recent sales tax growth is less than half that of the state and the Bay Area as a whole. Our leakage of retail sales to surrounding communities continues to be a major contributing factor. And on that note, if I see any of you at the new Target in Petaluma or San Rafael, you're in big trouble. We are updating our retail leakage data that will help us identify gaps, forecast opportunities, and explore emerging trends. We are working with property owners, developers, and brokers to tenant key commercial spaces and facilitate our development processes. And we will be working on the general plan update that will identify retail land use opportunities. Of course, we know it's never that easy. The challenge is finding that sweet spot, that place where we can be most effective getting the revenue we need to keep the services at the level we know our community wants, while maintaining the character of the community. Despite the Great Recession and the focus on financial sustainability, there really have been a lot of wonderful things happening. In-N-Out is about to start construction. Double. Trek Winery is open for your urban wine tasting experience. And I will say, by the way, get your Academy Award tickets to benefit the Downtown Novato Theater. I think there are flyers on the table, and you can find information on our website. There, June, I gave you a little plug. You're welcome. Mucio's and Left Coast Depot on Grant Street, Hot Monk Brewery in Vintage Oaks, and Besos in Hamilton have all added to our culinary choices this year. Entitlements have been approved for Hannah Ranch to include office, restaurants, and a hotel. County Measure A, to protect parks, open space, and farmland, was passed by the voters with a whopping 74% approval, and will generate approximately $90 million countywide and over $500,000 per year to Novato. City offices are coming downtown after 50 years of effort. I'm just happy it's no longer a swimming pool out there, but you see there are walls actually going up out there. The foundation is almost completed, and the steel structure is about to start going up. A beautiful building in the heart of our community, accessible and representative of all, a place that will provide our community with decades of civic discourse, public celebration, and pride. In partnership with the school district, the first gym in 30 years, the Hamilton Community Gym, was opened, where my 11-year-old daughter got 2 prizes last Thursday, just saying. The construction of the Bay Trail is currently underway at Hamilton, along the nation's largest wetland restoration project. In partnership with our committed and community-building local nonprofits and volunteers, the city was able to transfer the downtown theater for restoration and operation. We reached agreement for 2 acres out by Dogbone Meadow for a community garden in that community group, and are on target for a new American Indian Museum building in Miwok Park. Our street maintenance and improvements, funded in part by Measure B, passed by the voters in 2000, allows the quality of our roadways to rank high among other Bay Area cities. Our city's been able to secure millions of dollars in grant funding to support everything from after-school programs to alcohol abuse prevention to the construction of bike paths and sidewalks on Olive, as well as around Lidwood and Sinaloa schools. In partnership with the Bank of Marin, thank you, we were able to act swiftly and refinance the bonds used to purchase the Marin Valley Mobile Home Park at a very low rate. We were able to add additional parking and control a key downtown parcel containing our historic train depot, and are presently working on a land transfer with SMART. 32,000 people used the just a couple-year-old Hamilton pool this past summer, and nearly 90,000 times last year someone benefited from a Parks Department class, program, or event. This steady, partial list of collective accomplishments from both the public and private sectors is why our quality of life in Novato continues to be so great, despite the recession. Chapter 3, in the last chapter, the necessity and tradition of coming together. Our City Council and staff commit themselves to ensure the safety, health, and development of our children, the condition of our streets, sidewalks, and storm drains, the emergency preparedness of our community, the vibrancy of our economy, and that our fiscal health is strong for future generations. And a healthy community is one that comes together collectively to address issues and where mutual respect is fostered. There is no shortage, and I know many of you know lots of examples where this community has mobilized to accomplish something, solve a problem, or help each other. In 1922, the Novato Advance wrote about the community house right over here, quote, "It is hoped and expected that this will be to the community what a real home is to the family, a place where the needs, interests, and happiness of each one is the concern of all the rest," unquote. The building of the community house was the coming together of the business community, residents, volunteers, and the Presbyterian Church that agreed to finance the project. Like the restoration of this building, City Hall, This community will mobilize to restore our downtown Novato theater, the train depot, and will collectively determine what great things the next incarnation of the community house will hold. During the Depression, at the urging of the Chamber of Commerce and the community, the railroad donated a couple of railway cars to house a kitchen and caretaker to feed the many people out of work. Just one other example of coming together. That community spirit continues strongly today in our residents, nonprofits, businesses, and staff alike. During our fiscal crisis, the gymnastics club, for instance, stepped up and agreed to raise an additional $25,000 a year to support the program. And the 3 Little Leagues in town have agreed to take over maintenance of the fields that they use. We need to make sure that we come together to solve problems and pursue initiatives for the greater good. As part of our everyday work, we have been committed to open government, transparency, and inclusiveness. For the last couple of years, we weathered the housing element process. I say weathered as there were many stormy moments, some as a result of our missteps, and others due to a lack of trust for the city to do the right thing on behalf of the community. Yet we are now on target to have a certified housing element by the end of the year, which I believe will meet the policy goals of the City Council, the community, and the state. Nevertheless, trust between some in the community and their government was damaged. Granted, it was not just here and is not just here in Novato. There has been a decline of public trust in government overall. Only 35% of Californians say they trust local government to, quote, do the right thing, unquote. Community is based on a series of one-on-one relationships where mutual respect is developed. Disagreement, as Jay Strauss mentioned, is part of democracy and is inevitable. The key is being able to disagree, yet still have enough trust to be able to move forward. Ernest Hemingway said, quote, "The best way to find out if you can trust someone is to trust them," unquote. I am personally committed to rebuild the trust and to ensure that you are informed and included. We are committed to providing you with timely, accurate, and helpful information using a host of vehicles through our local media, our website, social media outlets like Facebook and Twitter, our e-notify system, our televised council meetings, our web broadcasts, and most importantly, directly from your representatives on the City Council and from our staff. And by staying informed and participating in the discussion, you will make our city, our community stronger. This year, I will be offering office hours monthly by appointment or walk-in at City Hall right here to all who are interested in sharing ideas and dialogue about shaping a better future for our community. Not only as a city manager, but as a Novato resident and a parent of a child who attends Novato Unified's Hamilton School, I am personally invested in the quality of our life in Novato. I know that many of you share that goal. Collectively, we can make a difference. Being in the pole position does not guarantee that we will succeed. Nevertheless, it's a great place to be. Working together with council, staff, and the community with powerful intentionality and with earned trust, and with our tradition of coming together, we will lead our city into a period of prosperity, health, and community pride. As my 11-year-old daughter said last evening, quote, "We are one community, no matter our disagreements," unquote. Where she gets these things, I have no idea. Together, we will find the best solutions, the premier opportunities, and realize the unlimited potential of our sweet home, Novato. Thank you.